Hello, I'm Brent Combest, Cloud Services Channel Development Manager for Microsoft Dynamics. This short video is the third from our series titled From the Cloud. Today I'll be discussing the financial impact a transition to the cloud will have on a partner's business. Specifically, we'll be reviewing the primary levers of profitability and their impact on a partner's P&L. For this presentation, I'll be focusing on our solution partners, which include VARs, ISVs, and SIs. While there are many influencing variables that contribute to a partner's success, we found through our modeling and research that some play a more critical role than others. We refer to these as the primary levers of profitability. As you see here, there are a total of 7. The first is total subscription price, which refers to the combination of the Dynamics license, the partner's packaged IP, and in the case of a hosted offering, any incremental costs associated with providing that type of delivery model. Second is average deal size. This refers to the average number of users per customer. Next is the cost of goods sold. For many partners, this will prove to be one of the most challenging operational obstacles faced. For those of you providing a hosted offering, careful consideration of the cost associated with this model is a key factor for controlling your bottom line. As you'll see later on, when we review the P&L, you'll notice that success in the cloud is predicated on increasing volume, or what is referred to here as the rate of customer acquisition. In the last video from this series, Dan Jones and I talked about the customer's diminishing desire to pay for deployment services. Managing the costs associated with this and working to meet the expectations of customers will be an important part of building a cloud-based business. And last, but certainly not least, is managing churn. It's a simple concept that the longer you keep a customer on a subscription, the more revenue and margin you can derive from them, so long as you can control cost for managing that relationship. In an effort to make this exercise more consumable, we've built a sample partner P&L and run a series of what-if analysis to quantify the impact these levers have. Our partner is a US-based VAR with a history of selling CRM on premises. They focus on the mid-market and have revenues just under $6 million. They average 15 on-premises customer adds per year with 5.7% EBITDA, providing $342,000 in operating margin. In this example, we'll look at their transition over a 5-year period, with the first year dedicated to planning and preparing for execution. We did this to show what a typical historical year would look like for this partner prior to moving to the cloud. However, with the recent launch of Microsoft CRM Online, we expect most partners to begin pushing a cloud solution immediately due to customer demand while they're finalizing their plan. You can see the numbers noted with blue arrows that I just mentioned here in year 1 as the starting point for this scenario. Our variables for this example start with total subscription price. In addition to the CRM Online standard price point of $44 per month, we've added $55 worth of packaged IP for a total of $99 per user. Given this partner's focus on the mid-market, we've assigned an average deal size of 30 seats. We've also assumed that they employed a cloud-focused sales rep and accelerated their sales cycles, resulting in an average of $5,000 for their cost of sale. Since this example focuses on CRM Online, there are no hosting costs to consider. This partner focuses on a small set of verticals and has realized the operational benefits of doing so. The net result is better marketing and improved selling, increasing their rate of customer acquisition from 15 ads per year to 48 by year 5. We've opted to be conservative with this example and anticipated that the market won't allow the level of deployment services historically seen. This means that until partners have an automated way of delivering certain aspects of deployment work, such as training and data migration, in a streamlined way, a delta between the value of the services provided and what can be charged may exist. To account for this, we've assumed $25,000 worth of deployment services, but the partner only being able to charge $12,500. A similar business that's seen this type of evolution is the cell phone industry. When cell phones were first introduced, companies charged a high amount or a high price point for the phone itself, and since then they've worked those price points down to a much lower level and subsidized the cost of that through the subscription contract itself. We see this as a potential opportunity for partners and for ourselves to do that over time. Depending on the segment of the market or the vertical you focus on, the need to do this may not be as prevalent. However, over time, the trend is for customers to demand fewer billable hours, and we expect pressure to be applied against this revenue line for most partners. Lastly, the target churn rate in this example is 10%. If these conditions were met, this partner would achieve $7.1 million in revenues by the 4th year of their cloud practice and would have doubled their operating margin and EBITDA. Now let's dig into some of these specifics of how this would actually happen. As you'll notice across the bottom in yellow, the on-premises customer adds declined at a rate of 10%, from 15 in year 1 down to 6, while the operational efficiencies associated with the cloud business model had driven a strong increase, starting with 12 in year 2 and ramping quickly to 48 by year 5. This has shifted the mix of software to services revenue. In year 1, when the business was still entirely on-premises, software made up roughly 1/3 of the business. By year 5, the packaged IP the partner has added on top of the Dynamics license, along with the partner of record fees, has created a predictable annuity stream that accounts for half of the revenue. Next, notice what's happening with the gross margins for these two lines. The software margins are far greater than the services practice has ever seen. This is consistent with what we see with many ISVs in our partner ecosystem today. The services margin, in turn, is depleting. This is a net result of the partner having to charge out a rate equal to the cost of their resources. Remember, this is tied to the point I made earlier, where this partner was providing $25,000 worth of value for a price of $12,000, basically due to the demands of customers. The closer the partner can bring these together, the more margin will be seen on this revenue line. Unless you're selling in a portion of the market that isn't adverse to billable hours, the best way to do this is to package IP effectively and focus billable hours on new services opportunities such as business consulting or more complex, less competitive work such as building Azure-based services. The impact to this partner, as I mentioned before, is a progression toward greater operating margin and EBITDA, shown here. One key note is that partners should expect to see a dip in EBITDA in their first and possibly second years of running their cloud practice. This is attributable to the investments that need to be made in marketing and other areas, as well as the absence of upfront bulge payments from on-premises deals. The faster a partner can drive up the number of customer adds in the cloud model, the more rapidly they will be able to build a strong annuity stream, returning to and ultimately surpassing the levels of profitability seen prior to beginning the transition. Okay, now let's take a few minutes to talk through the sensitivity of these levers on profitability and how moving them up and down can impact a partner's business. First, let's look at the impact of price sensitivity, or more specifically, the pricing of additional packaged IP. Remembering the example we gave earlier, the partner had set a price of $55 per seat on top of the standard CRM online user price of $44. If they had come to market at a price point of $45 or $10 less, the impact would have been significant at $250,000 and 3.2 points of EBITDA. I want to stress the importance of doing a careful analysis of the market to understand what can be charged for incremental IP. When you're building your pricing models, be sure to look at the total cost of ownership of your competitors. What are they charging for their users? What additional deployment services are required to customize the product? And does your IP remove the need to pay for those? Your IP should also be positioned to the customer as faster time to value, which has an opportunity cost associated with it that customers will want to consider. Next, in looking at the average deal size, a simple reduction of 5 seats per deal can equate to $270,000 worth of operating margin for this partner and 3.5 points of EBITDA. The more relevant your solution is to the customer's breadth of needs, the further you can penetrate an account. The best way to do this is to offer something that has a broad footprint but can be consumed easily without much customization required. I realize I sound like a broken record, but packaged IP is key here as well. Thinking closely about your cost of goods sold is also critical. Historically speaking, most of our on-premises partners see these costs range from $15,000 to $25,000 per deal. This simply won't work in the cloud. The process must become more efficient, interaction with prospects must be reduced, and compensation models need to be set up appropriately. The goal should be to drive more volume into your business. These things together will reduce the cost of sale to the levels depicted in this model. Not doing so can paralyze the cloud practice, as you see here, with a $480,000 impact to operating margin. Hand in hand with the cost of sale is the rate at which customers are acquired. I'm sure many of you felt our assumptions for how fast this partner must grow on this metric were aggressive. As you can see here, however, this is what drives up the building of the annuity stream. As I pointed out, the gross margin on this revenue line is higher than that of services, and if the trajectory for growth on customer adds is flatter, as outlined here with the rate of 9 adds in the first year of the cloud practice, followed by 12, 18, and 24, the result is a missed opportunity of $440,000 in operating margin and 5 full points of EBITDA. We all know the more you give away, the less money you make. That's not hard to figure out. In that vein, without having packaged IP to offer, if the customers demand to pay for a smaller amount of billable hours, partners are going to be forced to give away more to remain competitive. Doing so will be painful. In this case, moving services value up to $35,000 and only being able to charge $12,500 for it has a $264,000 impact. The last point I want to make is the importance of churn. This metric should be closely monitored by all partners. We've shown in this example an increase from 10 to 20%. The net result is nearly $150,000 in operating margin on the partner's business. Partners who sell or deliver offerings in an on-premises model today should allow for the transition to take place over a number of years. As a result, most will find themselves needing to manage a blended practice of both on-premises and subscription services. If managed thoughtfully with a pragmatic focus on overall process efficiency, a cloud-based business can generate a substantial increase in operating margin, assuming the levers we've covered today are carefully considered. And with that, I want to take a moment to thank our partners and field team members who joined us today. As we wrap things up, I'd also like to remind you that more details on this topic, as well as all of the videos from this series, are covered as part of our Dynamics Cloud Partner Profitability Guide. For more on this resource, please visit the Microsoft Partner Network website. I urge you to spend some time reviewing this document as a reference when building your cloud strategy. Please join us next time when we'll be discussing the process for lowering the cost of sale with David Smith, General Manager for Partners from the U.S. subsidiary. Thank you again, and see you next time on From the Cloud.